What's up, guys? Before we get into the gameplay, I have a very important announcement to make. For those of you who've been following Patreon, the upper slots, the coaching slots have been very full for a while. That's because I've been in the process of slowly moving my coaching over from Patreon to Medify. So Medify is a esports coaching website. If you'd like to get coaching services from me, my Medify profile is in the description, so you should check that out. Also, while I'm self-shilling, kind of hate doing this, but it is what it is, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy this type of content. It really does help on my metrics a ton. And speaking of Patreon, of course, appreciate my Patreon supporters a ton. Could not be doing this without you guys. But yeah, let's hop right into this gameplay video. So what is the team we're running? So I had originally planned on running the Lickitung, Medicham, Jellicent team as my final team, so I didn't really spend a lot of time team building this season. But for some reason, with this new meta that the poison buffs have introduced, that team hasn't seemed to be working very well for me at all. So last minute, I did kind of have to change it up and pick one of the teams that I had made a video on this season, kind of as my backup team, and this was it. I felt like this was a really solid team. It worked well. My push ended up such that I'll probably end up on the leaderboards, which will make me one of probably under 5 players to finish every season on the leaderboards. But at the same time, I didn't do as well as I feel like I would have wanted to. So in the future, I will probably be preparing more than one team. I won't put all my eggs in one basket, and I look forward to hopefully a better performance next season here. But the team, let's look at Mandibuzz as the lead, Jellicent is the swap, and Nidoqueen is the closer. But really, Jellicent and Nidoqueen play the same role here. Mandibuzz, you stay in on every single lead except for Fairy types and Bastiodon. If it's not Fairy types and Bastiodon, you stay in. Galvantula, you stay in. Abomasnow, you stay in. Like, those sound like bad leads, but really, they're not all that bad for Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is an absolute beast. And even if you do lose those leads, the goal is to come in with Jellicent and Nidoqueen and grab a huge energy advantage and kind of carry that through the rest of the match. If you can grab Shield with Mandibuzz, that's great. Or if you can grab Switch with Mandibuzz, Jellicent and Nidoqueen are a pretty good core too. So having Switch advantage with those two in the back, you're probably going to win the game as well. So there's a lot of options to win games with this balanced team. I know I've been making a lot of balanced team videos. I'm ready to go back to ABB, but it is what it is. Balanced teams are very strong in this meta, where farming down can essentially mean a free win. In this next game, actually my recording stopped working, but it is a win. So I decided to replace this win with another win with a very common team you guys might see a lot, so you can know how to play versus it. This is Venusaur Double Steel. If you take a look at the movesets, everything is pretty standard, except for Nidoqueen. You'll notice I've bolded Earthquake. I'm running Earthquake. That's because Earth Power does not one-shot G-Fisk and Bastiodon, and you lose those, or you can lose those matchups if they just no-shield the first one. But with Earthquake, you take them out in one hit. So in this Venusaur Double Steel game, I'll get back to Earthquake in a bit. With G-Fisk switching, you go straight into Jellicent. Jellicent with Bubble beats G-Fisk. They even baited me, right? They even baited me with Rock Slide. And I'm still going to end up winning the one shield. In this case, they don't end up shielding, which is a little bit of a problem, but because I used all my energy, it's likely they'll come back in with Venusaur. And I just want to get to this Ice Beam here. Yeah, Ice Beam just essentially means Venusaur has to shield, but I still have Switch, and the important part is having the Shadow Nidoqueen up against Bastiodon and the Mandibuzz up against the Venusaur. So in this case, they're going to go right into the Bastiodon, and I swap in a little slow. But here's where Earthquake pays off. Like I said, Earthquake one-shots if they don't shield. And most good Bastiodon and G-Fisk players won't shield the first one because they know that it's not going to one-shot. And you need to Poison Bang bait first. So because they know you need to bait, they're not going to shield the first one. You can get those big Earthquakes off and just win games with it. Like if I have Earth Power there, I have to make 2 successful baits to win. And the first bait is not going to be successful. There's no way, right? So in this case, just throw the Earthquake and win some games. So you might be thinking, but Earthquake is a worse move than Earth Power. That is true, and there are games where you're going to lose because you have Earthquake instead of Earth Power. For example, versus Toxicroak, versus Nidoqueen, versus Alolan Marowak. Those games are tougher, but I honestly think that I've been seeing way more G-Fisk and Bastiodon than any of those. And Deoxys is much better against Deoxys and Lickitung as well, just for the damage. So for every maybe 3 games I win because of Earthquake, because of landing Earthquake on G-Fisk, I might lose 2 games to those things. But I think that the trade-off is definitely worth it. In this game we have Sableye lead. That's exactly what we want to see. We have to keep the Mandibuzz lined up on it. The back line is not good versus it. With the As you switch in, I like to throw Poison Fang pretty much right away to try and get that debuff rolling. If they catch a move, it's a different story. I want to wait until I tank a move first and then farm it down, maximize the farm you're getting out of that. Don't just throw your Poison Fang right away. Think about when you should be throwing your Poison Fang. In this case, I did throw it right away. And remember also, see, I'm not at my Earthquake there. When I throw that, I am at Earth Power. Earth Power is at 8 Poison Fangs. So remember that even if you don't have Earth Power, you can definitely still bait the Earth Power. And you definitely should still be baiting the Earth Power. You can get a ton of shields. You don't actually need Earth Power anyways. In this case, they don't shield. A bit of a hypocrite right there. But we're still going to throw the Foul Play at the Sableye. And in comes Nidoqueen. And the goal here in this game, I'm just trying to make this Nidoqueen use all of its energy, because if it has a little bit of energy lead on Jellicent, it can be a bit tricky playing that bait game against the Earth Power and Poison Fang. If you let the Earth Power through, they can actually just Poison Fang you down afterwards. If you call the bait wrong on the Poison Fang, they can Earth Power you down. It's just a very tricky situation. But if I get the Nidoqueen a bit lower and save my shield, then I can just bubble this down. I don't need to worry about even getting to a charge move on my Jellicent. So yeah, we're going to throw that Foul Play and then just switch in, and I think my opponent realizes that this is game over. Yeah, so that's one way to win games. Just win lead and then just keep following and winning switch, because you have a core of your balanced team. In this case, we have Medicham lead. Manabuzz wins the 0 shield, I believe. So they have to, but Medicham wins the 1 shield. So a lot of Medicham players will take it to the 1 shield instead, and that's perfectly fine. That's exactly what you want. You want your opponent to be spending a shield so that you can farm them down with something else. In this case, we have Jellicent and Shadow Nidoqueen in the back. They're both fantastic against Medicham. So I have thought about switching out of this lead, because Manabuzz is probably your worst Pokemon versus Medicham, but at the same time, this is not the worst. See, look, we're going to get to this in the 0 shield. We're going to see if this Medicham really wants their energy, and they do, and a lot of Medichams will do this, right? Because they think they have a full move. It's probably worth the shield and switch, but with Jellicent there to kind of absorb the Psychic, no problem. We're able to try and figure out how to win the rest of this game. Oh, yeah, unfortunately, this is where Earth Power would really come in handy, right? And I make a pretty dumb call on a bait here, and that is that. So, kind of sullying this perfectly good set. I think I had 3 wins so far, so kind of throwing this set out the window. Very unfortunate. But yeah, I'm just going to save some time and quit out there. Keeping switch advantage with Lickitung was very, very smart for them. I kind of thought there would be a bash on the back, but oh well. In this case, we have Deoxys lead. In comes Vigoroth, and Vigoroth, as long as you don't swap too slow, the goal play here is to go into Jellicent. Make sure, though, that when the normal type at the top comes in, or this side, make sure it says Vigoroth underneath, because if you swap into a Lickitung, you're just going to lose the game. So with Vigoroth, the goal is to just, if you don't swap too slow, no shield, and just throw your Ice Beams right away. You can farm down, but it is sketchy if they can get to another Body Slam and pressure you. I like to keep a little bit more HP depending on what their lead was. In this case, it's Deoxys, so Deoxys has to come right back in, and Deoxys doesn't beat you to a Thunderbolt. So we're going to be able to get a Shadow Ball off. If they shield, great. If they don't, also great. Dealing with Deoxys is a bit of a hassle. So getting that damage off is absolutely huge. And then in the back, we find we have this Obscune. So this is the triple counter team, a team I created myself a very long time ago. Looks like it still works because these games are up at the 3,400. So, but yeah, this team has a great matchup versus the triple counter team. It's actually, I would say, near impossible to lose. Near impossible to lose. And it actually has a lot of great matchups versus a lot of the very meta teams as well. So the Venusaur double tank team, it beats it as well. It beats the Shadow Victory Bell lead teams with Vigoroth. It just has a lot of play. Alright, this game we have Yasser at lead. This game is not the actual game that happened. The actual game that happened in this scenario, Yasser had already played me. This was our first match, and he realized he was very hard countered, so he just left the game. Oh wait, no, this is it. Yeah, in this case, I'm going to swap out to my Jellicent, and it turns out he had a Greedent in the back, so a lot of people will swap their Greedent into the Mandibuzz. but it's really easy to just stay in with Mandibuzz and take down the Greedent. In this case, Jellicent is not great into Greedent, but what I swapped the Jellicent in for was to try and realign my Shadow Nidoqueen with his Medicham at this point. That's all I want to do. I don't really care about my Jellicent at this point. I know Mandibuzz can easily handle this Greedent. Bullet Seeds don't do anything. Body Slams kind of tickle, and Foul Plays hit back much harder than the Body Slams on those Snarls actually add up. So once I get this Foul Play off on the Greedent, if he doesn't shield, I know I'm in pretty good shape because I can just go into my Nidoqueen and worst case tank a Body Slam. Best case, don't take a Body Slam and just get some free farm and just immediately start pressuring this Medicham with some Poison Fangs. And yeah, Yasser realizes it's up. This is a very hard counter team for his. And yeah, like I said, the next time he just quit right off the bat. Next battle we have Toshi himself. I know he's running a Shadow Gliscor somewhere. I wasn't sure exactly where on the team it was. But these Swampert teams are actually pretty tough because a lot of the time they come with Skarmory, right? And Skarmory is not very good for this backline, mainly Shadow Nidoqueen. Skarmory is one of the only Pokemon where Shadow Nidoqueen can't really do anything to with a farm. And the entire point of this is losing switch advantage and getting a big farm. So if you can't do anything to get a farm with your Shadow Nidoqueen, then you're in a lot of trouble. And actually, versus Toshi's team, I believe Shadow Nidoqueen doesn't have a lot of play. But you can see, in this lead scenario, I'm playing the Zero Shield here. I've already got a shield from the Swampert. I decided to shield once. I don't normally do this, but I was already at the move, and I wanted Toshi to go shields down so my Jellicent had more play. But he makes a great catch onto Gliscor and eats some of this foul play damage, which makes it so that I don't even need to, or I can't get the farm on my Jellicent to one-shot this Gliscor. So unfortunately, I have to no-shield the first one just in case he gets the boost. I thought about farming down the whole way too, and maybe I should have, but instead I decided to throw a Shadow Ball before he gets to the next Night Slash, and in comes the Skarmory. Exactly what I had feared. Ooh, I remember this game. I make a panic swap. So we're gonna get the Shadow Ball off onto the Skarmory, and luckily Toshi actually throws the Sky Attack here. I was not at Shadow Ball. He would have been correct if I was running Hex, but Bubble does not generate energy quite as fast. And I go into my Mandibuzz. We're gonna shield up, and I know he's coming with a Swampert, so I try and switch out. You can see, okay, you actually can't see I'm clicking on the switch button, but I swear, not just excuses this time, to catch that on Shadow Nidoqueen, but unfortunately I could not, and Toshi's gonna be able to take out my Nidoqueen as well. But yeah, it was maybe wishful thinking I could catch that Hydro Cannon on the Shadow Nidoqueen and then get to 2 moves. Another very awesome battler. You guys have all heard of Rise to Occasion. We have a Politoed lead. So same thing, we're going to stay in this lead here. And he's going to swap onto Medicham, so I'm going to go right into Jellicent right away. Jellicent versus Medicham is an extremely good matchup. Unfortunately, I think I clicked my Shadow Ball button here. No, I don't. And I farm up a little bit more. We're going to throw the Shadow Ball at Medicham. Even if he decides to shield, I'm going to be able to outpace more Shadow Balls. And in comes Politoed. So the goal here is to try and take down this Politoed. Or at least deal as much damage to it as possible. Mandibuzz doesn't have the best matchup versus it. So it is nice that I'm able to weaken it quite a bit. And obviously Nidoqueen doesn't have a great matchup. But we want to keep alignment. In comes Shadow Magnezone. So this is a bit scary. On one hand, we have Shadow Nidoqueen, which double resists electric. But on the other hand, they have Shadow Magnezone, which double resists poison, and they have a non-poison charge move, and I don't. So I'm gonna be just absorbing some mirror shots here and throwing my Poison Fangs. I decided not to even go to the Earth Power because like it doesn't really matter. He's got 2 shields anyways. Everything's just gonna get shielded. So we're gonna keep trying to take him down. He's throwing another mirror shot, and at this time I know the switch timer is gonna be up, so I'm watching his switch really carefully. He switches right away, and I'm going to switch right away too. I can't have him throwing a Weather Ball at my Nidoqueen. I need to get right out there, and he realizes that he's kind of done for at this point. His Magnezone can't even really take a foul play from Mandibuzz at that point. So we're able to get a big win there. Next game, we have G-Fisk switching. We're going to go right into Jellicent. And once again, shield up this Rock Slide. Yeah, a lot of people baiting in this recently. I somehow, in my last sets, were the only ones where the G-Fisks were baiting. Most of the time, everyone goes Earthquake. In this case, it looks like they really want to win Switch. So, I probably should have shielded here too. But they actually land... sorry, they land the bait, so they get the Rock Slide bait, then they land the Earthquake, and then once again, I'm gonna have to shield another Rock Slide. So in this case, Jellicent has shielded 2 Rock Slides, right? So this is the double bait scenario for Switch and G-Fisk with an energy advantage. But Jellicent still wins the 0 shield. So this is Altaria. Oh, this is a problem. So Altaria is actually a pretty big issue for this team, especially with an energy advantage. Unfortunately, this Altaria is going to be able to make it to a Sky Attack here. And my Poison Fang isn't going to do nearly enough damage. But I'm going to try and get to that second one, even though I don't think I can get there. They swap into their Jellicent, and I probably should have stayed in against this Hex Jellicent to get to my Poison Fang. Instead, I swap right into my Mandibuzz because it is a good counter. But unfortunately, I don't have that move on my Nidoqueen, and the Dragon Breath will likely take me out before I get to that all-important Poison Fang. Oh, I played this game poorly too. I broke my cardinal rules. So we CMP tie here. I'm at 100% energy, so I decided to undercharge, but really, if I looked at my switch timer is almost up. Don't undercharge when there's only 2 Pokemon left. And I switch out to try and clear my debuffs before I throw the foul plays of the Altaria. Unfortunately, my Nidoqueen does not get to the Poison Fang. I just realized this says Hydro Cannon on my Shadow Nidoqueen. Shadow Nidoqueen does not have Hydro Cannon, a Poison type Hydro Cannon. That would be insane. That is a Poison Fang. I am so sorry, guys. I completely forgot to change that one word. I'm sorry about that, guys. G-Fisk lead. So this is the first we've seen of this, but there's a lot of G-Fisk leads in general. This lead is one of the tougher ones. I think Altaria is probably the hardest lead, and then G-Fisk. In this lead scenario, what you want to do is you want to no shield anything and just throw foul plays. You don't lose by that much, and if you sneak some moves through, and I've seen this when coaching other players at not as high ELOs, what players will do is they'll be charging up more on G-Fisk, and they'll let you get that third foul play off. And if you can get that third foul play off, it's absolutely awesome. In this case, I just got my second foul play off. That's it. We're not going to get the third foul play off. But if you get the third foul play off, you don't really have to tank anything on Jellicent. In this case, this is the worst case scenario. They actually switch out of their G-Fisk. Ideally, you want to farm down that G-Fisk all the way with Bubble and no shield, and hope that Shadow Nidoqueen can win the 2 shield at the end of the day. But that is not the case here. Yeah, we have that Sableye just tanking these Poison Fangs. It's kind of a worst case scenario here. I really have to hope that whatever's in the back can't handle my Jellicent. And the fact that they switched Sableye into it makes me not feel really good about that plan. Yeah, and unfortunately I have to spend my other shield too here. So this is a very tough situation already. There's not a lot in the back that I can actually win against, and it's a Venusaur. So yeah, 0 chance. This was hard counter city regardless of what happened. That's the G-Fisk, Sableye, Venusaur team. You're not going to win versus those unless they let you farm your G-Fisk down. So this next battle versus my Pika Best Pika. We have an Empoleon lead. This is a great lead for Mandibuzz. I know it's not a very common Great League lead, but I was seeing it a lot during my push. And by a lot, I mean like 3 or 4 times, which is pretty incredible considering I probably saw the Penguin maybe that much all the rest of the season. So I think people are finally tired of G-Fisk, tired of Nidoqueen. They put the Empoleon out just to catch those, and Bastion out in the lead. But what you can do is force the shield here and then force them to throw, because if they don't, you can take them or force another shield. So it's a pretty good lead for Mandibuzz. Come in with Jellicent. This is a huge farm. If they switch, great. You have switch advantage for Nidoqueen. If they don't, you get an absolute huge farm for the low cost of 60% of your HP. And now we have almost 2 full Shadow Balls. Sableye comes in. Sableye in the back is very scary, right? But with this much of an energy advantage, we can likely deal with it. So I'm going to actually throw both Shadow Balls for my Jellicent. I really just want to get the Sableye down low. Because it's not like Nidoqueen can really deal with it well either. I'm going to throw the Poison Fang. My Pika Best Pika goes for the CMP tie, which I'll shield. But I really do want to get this Poison Fang off. Even if the Sableye is likely not switching in, after this Poison Fang, it should be low enough that it can't get to another move. And in comes the Medicham. So in this case, I could go for the Earthquake, but the double Poison Fang also does the trick. So I just went for that. In hindsight, I probably should have went for the Earthquake because it's the same cost as 2. And I don't have to worry about them sneaking a move through. But this allows me to get a little bit of extra farm at the end. I guess I could undercharge, but I don't have the experience to undercharge Earthquake here. But yeah, we're gonna be able to take that win as well. That was a good lead, right? Like, we technically lost the lead, but we had shield advantage and farm down. That is a perfect example of what this team should do. Here we have another Medicham lead as well. We saw one earlier. We're gonna throw the Aerial Ace, and remember to throw with good timing. I'm throwing at an odd number of snarls. If you notice in all these games, I'm making sure that they're not getting any extra moves through. So for example, after they throw this move, I throw one more and try and throw, but they have another move too. And because of that, they switch in G-Fisk. So with the G-Fisk switch in, you go right into Jellicent. You gotta be quick about that kind of stuff too. If you wait too long, G-Fisk can actually win with a couple baits. In this case, see, we have the G-Fisk going straight Earthquake. And I'm gonna farm a little bit more. Throw a Shadow Ball. Notice an odd number of hexes as well. And I'm gonna attempt to farm this thing down because they've spent a shield and I've not spent I've spent a shield and they have not spent a shield. This is not where I want to be, so I need this farm down potential to be able to hit whatever comes in extremely hard. Unfortunately, they actually get to another Rock Slide here, which is not common, but it actually serves to be in my best advantage because I can grab a shield back. This is kind of a mind game because I really did want them to shield there because I need their Bastiodon to have an even amount of shields with me. In this case, Medicham comes back in. I swap really quickly to my Mandibuzz to force that last shield or let their Medicham go down. And I'm going to get to another Aerial Ace to get this Medicham extremely low. At this point, I'm feeling really good. Because, guess what? I called the team right. It is Bastion on the back. In this case, I had a little bit of an energy advantage, so I can get to this Earthquake before they do. And I'd win CMP anyways. So we're going to throw the Earthquake, and that's why you run Earthquake. If we have Earth Power there, it's a bit sketchier of a game. Because we have to Poison Fang first. They would get their charge move off. You have to debate shielding. Probably wouldn't. But then you can land the Earth Power too. So hitting the Earth Power on a Bastion or G-Fisk is absolutely game-changing. So this is what I talked about. This is probably the worst lead in the game. I played this a couple different ways. And all kind of usually end in disaster. So the problem is Altaria now has Moonblast. But a lot of Altarias also bait you with Sky Attack. If you get baited with Sky Attack and you shield, you lose the game for sure. If you get Moonblasted, what happens is they take you down and have a full Sky Attack essentially for the next Pokemon. And you can't farm them down. So you essentially have to take 2 Sky Attacks on one of your Pokemon, which is not good. I tried switching to Jellicent, which is also not good. If they have a good counter switch for that. So it's just a very tough situation. In this case, I am shielding Sky Attack. So my Nidoqueen is hurt. But I do have an energy advantage, and we'll see if that is able to play out. In this case, I swap in Jellicent, and they actually aren't switching out, which makes me think they don't have a good answer at Jellicent. So I decide to shield up their Thunderbolt versus Deoxys. Remember, always shield that first move. It's the opposite of the debuffers because it's a self debuffer, right? You want to shield that first move, and they make a great catch into Nidoqueen. I really should have thrown or not got my move caught, and if I'd thrown the Ice Beam, this would have been a much better scenario. I would have been able to farm down this Nidoqueen without even throwing a move, and essentially being able to take out this Deoxys. Unfortunately, instead, this Deoxys is going to be able to get to a Thunderbolt. And then it's going to be able to try and farm me down. And the problem here is that with a single Psycho Boost, my Nidoqueen is done. And this would have been a game I would have won with Earth Power instead of Earthquake. So previous game, we have Earthquake being handy. This game, we have Earth Power potentially being game winning. So unfortunate loss here out of that Altaria lead. Especially because I know I could have won with Earth Power, but it is what it is. Skarmory lead, this isn't too bad. At least the Skarmory's in the lead and not on the Nidoqueen. So the goal here is I usually charge to 7, and I try and CMP tie and fast move to 9. In this case, they don't throw their Brave Bird. A lot of the higher up players won't throw their Brave Bird, but you can still catch a lot of people in CMP. In this case, I go for 1 on 7, and then I go for 1 on 8 right after, but they actually just go for the Sky Attack. So I do get the CMP, but it's not what I was looking for. Either way, it just takes 3 foul plays to take out the Skarmory. So we're gonna just keep going. You can tank 2 Sky attacks, so Mana Buzz will win the 0 shield, and a lot of people don't like shielding against Mana Buzz, especially on their Skarmory. Here comes Vigoroth, and you know the drill here. Gotta bring in the Jellicent, throw those Ice Beams right away. Very important versus the Vigoroth switch. Yeah, Bulldoze doesn't do anything. And this is also where Bubble Jellicent really comes in handy. They can't play any like mind games and try and shield and bait you and try and win switch back. It's just a very straightforward. If they shield this Ice Beam, you farm them down. If they shield the first Ice Beam, you just keep throwing Ice Beams and you outpace them. It's just, there's no lose scenario versus this Vigoroth. Actually, see, look, they shield this Ice Beam. I'm not even gonna shield this Bulldoze. I'm gonna take this shield advantage straight to the bank. And look at this. They get to a Body Slam. But my Jellicent looks kind of healthy. Oh, not healthy enough. Either way, yeah. That's what you get for trash talking. I'm gonna bring in the Nidoqueen and just hope that I can take out the rest of their Pokemon here. I'm gonna swap into my Mandibuzz and press the wrong button. This is what happens when you're coaching someone who uses the buttons in a different order. In comes the Obstagoon. If I'd thrown the Foul Play at the Skarmory, it would have been a much different story. Yeah, I'm not playing well in these games. But versus the Obstagoon, we're going to tank the first one, just in case they get the boost. And guess what they do? Oh, worst case scenario. This is what happens every time I'm going for a leaderboard push. I make a bad play, they get the boost. But hopefully my team can carry me through. I do have 2 shields remaining on this Nidoqueen, but because of the boost, it's unlikely that they'll come in handy because my health will just get fast, move down instead. So we have a Skarmory. I'm going to throw with good timing, just get this Poison Fang to debuff the Skarm a little bit, which they shield. And we're going to get right to that next Poison Fang right before they take us out. 1 HP in a Dream, IVs mattering, etc, etc. We're going to be able to take that win. Despite the huge misplay, obviously if I threw the Foul Play instead of the Aerial Ace, remember what side your buttons are on. Just remember what side your buttons are on. If there's a tip that can be taken out of this video. In this game we have Talonflame lead. I think I misplayed this one slightly as well. I go for the CMP tie, which is really risky because they can sneak a move through, but I'm confident in my fast move denial ability. Unfortunately, they don't throw because I think they're trying to go for the sneak. But they do throw now. I'm going to no shield. And it is a Brave Bird. And I thought they would switch, so I try to throw the Foul Play now, but really what I should have done is thrown 3 Snarls for a Foul Play for good timing, because instead they're now going to get to another move versus my Mandibuzz. As a Flame Charge. But this is in farm down range, I believe, for my Jellicent. I just need to take it down in 3 bubbles. If not, then they get another Flame Charge off. So, but now this is the position you want to be in, right? You have no switch advantage, but you have shield advantage and an energy advantage on either Jellicent or Nido. So this is exactly where we want to be in the game. Swampert is going to throw a move. I'm going to shield just in case it's an Earthquake. It's not. Good bait by them because they're going to be able to get Hydro Cannon off. Decided to protect the Jellicent because they came in with Swampert into Jellicent. If you use switch advantage, you come to Swampert against Jellicent, then something is up. In this case, I don't want to get hit by a Mud Bomb on my Jellicent. It's clearly the MVP here, so I'm going to swap into Nido to tank the move. And Nidoqueen's actually going to be able to take everything down. But Bubble was definitely a much more consistent play. And with that, we have another 4-1 set. I was alternating 4 1s and 2 3s and 1 4s, just alternating good and bad sets this whole time. But this team, a lot of fun. Honestly, super successful too. Yeah, let's take a look there. That's the final rating of my season. 3484. Like I said, I would have liked it to be higher, but at the end of the day, the problem is I'm out of town this weekend too. So if I made more mistakes on that night, I wouldn't have had time to correct them and get to an acceptable rating. This rating should keep me on the leaderboard for the end of this season, which hopefully I think will be a feat. Like appearing on the leaderboard at the end of all 8 seasons will have been a feat that I think less than 5 people will have ever completed. So excited to be a part of that sort of history on one hand, but at the same time, I do feel like I let you guys down. I think I should be able to grind a little bit harder, a little bit higher than this next time around with a more thought out team. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if there's anything I could be improving. or anything that you'd like to see. And yeah, check out my socials in the description, and check out that new Medify link as well. As always, thanks for watching.